it's nice to have you here in the neighborhood. Yeah.
So this is Hayes Valley Farm. Welcome. After the earthquake, a number of the highways were compromised, including the Central Freeway, which now touches down at Market Street. The first thing they did was this on-ramp was shut down. It became very, very much a popular place for some of the undesirable activities in the city. So, we got access on January 24th. We cut the locks, they called the cops, we got off, no charges. We got back to work, and we've been here every Sunday and Thursday since January 24th. And when we started writing the project plan, we had things that we hoped to accomplish in the first 2 months. We're pretty much at 6 months in right now after 2 months, because hundreds of people show up every week. And they're always saying, what can I do? What can I do? What else are we going to do? And it's almost like we better figure out more things to do, because people standing around ain't happy. They're here to work. They're here to get dirty. They're here to have fun, meet friends, meet neighbors, tell stories, enjoy the outdoors, enjoy a little quiet nature in the middle of the crazy city. This is going up to Presidio, Lone Mountain, Pacific Heights. This is going up to the Haight and the Buena Vista. This is Hayes Valley, which we are dancing in. The only problem is there's no water flowing. One of those projects that I hope to get on is to maybe clear this space, throw some rocks in it, and see if we can recharge the river. Maybe inspire someone else to find water as opposed to flushing water. This right here is wood chips. It's essentially almost compost, but very nitrogen deficient. So it's mostly carbon. All of the arborists, landscapers, people who are doing clippings in their yards and stuff, that all gets collected, and it's all brought to one spot in the Bayview. It's called Bayview Green Waste. A guy named Sanjay started that program in the 70s to help people in the mission build gardens. And once he heard what we were doing, and I've been working with him for about 2 years on projects around the city. Yeah, someday, bro.
Someday?
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the Imagine right there. A pickup truck holds about a cubic yard. So you can imagine 400 pickup trucks. And that's one of the main elements of our soil building. The other main element of our soil building is horse poop. And if you haven't got it yet, when we go past it, catch the upwind, downwind feel of it. You'll know it's horse poop. Horse poop is very, very rich in nitrogen. A couple of the coffee shops right here in the neighborhood are bringing 5-gallon buckets of their coffee grinds each day, and we're adding that as a soil amendment. But we can't get it in the volume we can get this, so this is a major strategy for us.
Oh my God.
We envision the day where everyone is saving all of their coffee grinds to bring to their local compost pot, and none of that's going in the garbage. But we're going to start that pattern really small, really right here, and figure out how to make it happen around the entire city. And then if that happens, get it on the cover of the New York Times, show how an international city like San Francisco is growing their own food right out of their own waste streams, and then, inspire the rest of the world to stop creating so much waste. If you look up on the right here, you'll see pretty much what the whole site looked like when we got here. It was all ivy and thistle and dandelion, and the ivy itself, you can see, is actually choking and killing the trees. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to kill the ivy and build soil right on top of it. So we'll take a big, thick layer of cardboard. I'll tell you, we have more cardboard here than anywhere else, but we don't have enough. We've put about 30,000 pounds of cardboard on the ground already, and our goal is to put about 200,000 pounds. So we'll lay the cardboard right on top of the ivy, and on top of that we'll lay the horse poop, and on top of that we'll lay the wood chips. After those 4 layers have been put together, you're almost ready. You're almost ready to have the soil being built, but you're still missing a few things. First of all, there's nothing growing. But one of the things that grows really well in that is beans. So fava beans, clover, anything in the legume family, one of its properties is that it doesn't need a lot of nitrogen in the soil to grow. And the reason that is the case is because it actually will harvest nitrogen from the atmosphere and store it in its roots. You can see right here, this is what it looks like when we start to make the berms. This is one of the techniques that the Inca used in the 1300s to feed 1 million people on the side of a mountain.
Who did?
The Inca. The Incan Empire down in Peru and Chile. So if water was to fill up and rain heavily, it would channel across, slowly soak into the mountain, rather than seeing it rush down the mountainside. Over there you'll see we did the exact same thing, and about a month ago we planted fava beans and clover. And clover has the exact same legume tendency of harvesting nitrogen. So each one of these little guys will be sticking nitrogen balls on its roots. It's also going to be a ground cover that will keep the soil cool. It'll reduce our needs for watering because it'll reduce evaporation, and that's pretty fantastic.
Redwood forests have those, right?
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, everything we're doing here is based on how the forest does it. But you all know this was the off-ramp, right? So you all know that for 50 years cars were rolling down on here and braking, and there's brake dust, and there's oils and lead-based oils and gasolines that have been dripping. I don't want to grow food in toxic soils. In fact, this layering of organic matter in thick layers on top of what was once toxic soils is one of the techniques we're using to clean that soil and to produce healthy food. But just saying we're doing it isn't enough. We're going to test. So the last part of this tour is you want to know how are we going to grow healthy food on this site while we're treating the soil and dealing with these toxins. And I promise you that the most exciting part of the tour is next. We'll walk all the way around to the on-ramp. We're going to get off the off-ramp, the old way. We're going to get on the on-ramp and look at some of the new things we're doing to make food grow here while we're treating the soil and moving all these wheelbarrows around. If anyone has any more great ideas or questions, now is a great time. We take this little walk, and usually these are when some of those great ideas come up. Yeah. I just taped one of the good ideas that Jesse had for making pollinator and bird habitats. And if I just write it down, I'm going to try to do it, but I can't do it by myself. So if it's something that you think is a great idea, I'm going to ask for your help too. I don't want to do it by myself. I want to do it with the people who want to do it. Stage for performance. Sarah.
You got good ideas.
Blue tape. The opposite of red tape. You guys on a tour?
Yeah, we are.
Welcome to the tour.
It's a food tour.
This is a farm.
I know, that's why. Yeah.
Well, you should come back and have your own private tour here.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
All right, any Sunday.
We'll be in touch with you. That'd be perfect.
Super. I got really excited about trying to grow as much food as I could on this patio and plant lettuces and onions and tomatoes and shards and beets and brassicas and cauliflowers and broccolis and all that. And all that's growing in little containers all around the trees. Right there in pots on the freeway. We're calling it the Freeway Food Forest. What are we gonna do with the food? We are gonna eat it. We're gonna eat all of it. Yeah, Callie heard that story, she loves that. The volunteers are the only reason this project is happening. The city gave us enough money to create 3 part-time jobs to have the site be activated, and they gave us enough money to buy a few fruit trees to have something growing, and they paid for the water. Everything else has been volunteer driven. I'm a volunteer. If we have so abundant in food that there's so much more that every volunteer has got a big old full belly and a big old bag of food they brought home for their neighbors and friends, and there's still more food, then we're gonna give it all away. We'll give it away to the neighborhood, we'll give it away to the food banks. There's 100 places to give the food away. This is the end result of that soil building effort. Just about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Callie, off the beds. Don't do it, don't do it. I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna pull one of these out and see. You see those little nitrogen nodules in there?
Oh, yeah.
So this was
They're from natural gas, right?
from the atmosphere. So this was the bean that someone stuck in the ground. It sent the roots out the side and the leaves up the top. And once the leaves got big and green, they started harvesting that nitrogen from the atmosphere and sticking it on its roots. So we can bring in a big chemical fertilizer and spray and walk around, or we can plant beans and walk away for a month and chop them all down later. And that's what we're doing. Fava bean will go into the big old bean. That's the bean that we planted. You'll see it'll grow about 5 feet tall. And the day comes that we actually chop it off like that, the roots will die as well, and all those little nodules will fill the soil. And the next time it waters and the roots are gone, those little channels have been created now, and it's all good food for the soil. And if we feed the soil right, then we'll get to eat out of it pretty well too. Imagine. Rock on. Thank you so much. If you have any other questions, stick around. There's plenty of work to do. As you can see, they're doing it. Feel free.